back, Cancer. We are here to do your January 2020 read. This is a unique read that it covers your astrology placements, things that can come up during the conjunction and the eclipse in Cancer, which is your zodiac sign. And already looking at the cards that are coming through, psychically speaking, I've pulled cards in various areas of your life to help navigate through January, as well as hopefully with some of the placements I mentioned, especially Aries and Chiron placement for you guys, how that's going to directly link. Now, you can uniquely look at your own chart, which is very different to a collective energy read. Intuitively, I'm going to give you some tips to navigate through January plus 2020 and talk about the nodal changes too. So straight off the bat, moving into January, we are going to have the eclipse in Cancer, which is your zodiac sign, stemming from the nodes and the energies, and it is going to come up in your first house, obviously, being that's your Cancer. Now, with the conjunction in Capricorn and Pluto, Saturn Pluto, the conjunction, that is your 7th house. Now, the 7th house is linking in with marriages, contracts, and partnerships, and how you're evolving through those things, the things you've been working on in those areas, and something to a degree coming up in a culmination cycle. So what I've intuitively been picking is because the conjunction is occurring as very close by to the eclipse, the subject matters that we dealt with last year are uniquely coming up into the close to really shake things up and shift things around. So if we've been spiritually blocked, it's going to be that liberation of that sense. But it can be a karmic situation playing out to alleviate some of those stagnation energy. Now, the other placement I want to talk about is Aries and Chiron. Now, this does stay there for 8 years. We've already had a transitional cycle through this. It stays in Aries for 8 years because it has more work to do. In other zodiac signs, it stays around 2 years, which is less than Saturn's transit through each zodiac sign. Now, this for you guys is actually falling in your 10th house. Now, this connects in with your career, your reputation, your fame or lack of. Now, with this, it's the emotional connection into the things and how it's directly changing. And that really energetically is how you're evolving naturally and making peace with those things. You know, you and the work you put in it, and in a pain body experience, it can be where you've tried to achieve targets and due to external scenarios, your belief systems at childhood are really linking into who you are as a human being. So it can be your conditioning at childhood, which is solar plexus. So when you're getting triggered, and especially during this transit, what you might find is it's really beneficial to balance your chakras. So I would really highly recommend chakra stones to balance your chakras out. Now, Mercury is going to be very much activated as well as Jupiter. And both of those, if you use the chakra stones to help with that energy, it will help alleviate it. We already have this energy coming through of communication and growth. And in those areas, in March, the nodes are changing into Gemini, which again is your subconscious mind, is your 12th house. So you can potentially get yourself grounded by using amethyst. Again, drink plenty of fluid in 2020. Okay, so make sure you keep your fluid content up. Make sure that you trust in your intuition and you get yourself grounded. Especially when it does come to your communication. It's mind over matter, I really feel, and what's going on up here is really going to come up potentially in your communication style. So really articulating who you are now versus who you were before, but potentially some situations to do with your career and you wanting to liberate yourself from what your conditioning was and who you felt you were in the world. So in a traditional sense, maybe you're a male or a female and what your roles were in society and how those things had shaped you previously and how potentially your hopes and dreams very external to those energies were playing out inside you and coming to the forefront in your mind. I do feel also you are going to be achieving great things in your career sector in 2020. Now, Uranus is going to be going direct, and that's falling in your 11th house. And this is connecting in with surprises. It's things changing and shifting. And again, your aspirations, your hopes and dreams, the clubs, the people you're directly linking in with. This can be coming up around those times of the conjunction and the eclipse. So it can be some chain of events that occur during this time and a shifting of the things that you wanted before versus what you want right now. But you are actually attracting a lot of like-minded individuals. This can be quite scary at times because all of a sudden you're feeling very different, and especially with the Cancer eclipse being in your first house, it's actually asking yourself the question, and especially with the pain body experience being in your career sector, your 10th house, it's really looking at those things, and regardless of what your conditioning was and what society places you as, what your friends and your groups are wanting you to be, you know, really what are you wanting, and who are you right now versus what you were before. I do feel you're really evolving, and your needs and your wants and your hopes and side situations and connections are really changing, and you really, it's like you're coming home to yourself. You've done a full 360. Now, with the 7th house placement, with your marriages, contracts, partnerships, that with the 1st house placement, it's how do you feel about those things? What do you want to put in there? How do they see you versus how you see yourself? 1st house placement, it can really be coming up in your mind. Now, we're going to get tucked into the energies, obviously, of what the crowning energies were. And again, I do feel there's 3 major areas in your life you're changing. I also feel third-party energy. Now, again, the third-party energy, it's the past, the present, the future, how they're all linking in together, and how, in a karmic sense, especially with nodal energy when it shifts and you know, it moves and it goes through the eclipse cycles, there's scenarios playing out in the current tense, sometimes very much linking in with the past. Now, you've got 3 crowning energies in a crystal term with direct messages for you. Most of that reads did come through there where they were only 1. Some of them had 2, some of them had 3. Capricorn had 3, so did you, and it's your shadow sign. So the first one you have is this one. And I'll read the card to you because it's got messages on the back. The first one is creativity flows through me in a myriad of ways. I courageously bring my ideas into actuality. Okay. Now, again, 1st house placement, and I do feel this is linking into the eclipse in Cancer. Activate the creative mind. Again, linking in with the nodes changing in March. So between now and March, you really are stepping into your own frequency. You're also planning out things. You're looking at things, and you potentially could be planning something connected to March. Communication, in a sense, and, you know, the resources you hold inside your mind and your belief systems are really evolving and changing. Activate the creative mind. Finalize projects. This is a karmic end, okay? Realize unlimited potential. And at times when we're looking at karmic frequency, things that have held us back, especially with your placement of Aries, looking at that with your career at the past and your reputation and the things that potentially you've done that you were regretful of versus, you know, who you are, and including, you know, the other parent. This could be mother, father, it could also be an ex. Looking at those things and allowing them no longer to define you, and really to be able to visualize a new beginning, being that we're entering into a new decade cycle. Improved visualization skills. Stimulate the courage to fulfill life purpose and potential. Again, with that, solar plexus and sacral chakra, you may find when you have a blockage in that area, it can feel where you feel very vulnerable, very unmotivated to create, right? And it can be a blockage in that area. If it's overactive, that lagged thing, if it's overactive, it can be to the point where you're deeply tempted. You've got that temptation energy where you're linking in with habits, and, you know, it can be poor diet, it can be, you know, sort of trying to fill that void with food, with alcohol, smoking, etc. So the overactivity of that energy can be where you self-sabotage energy, so to speak. Again, balancing those chakras, it can also be where you're gaining weight in the lower area or holding a pain body experience. And again, obviously there's a very separate energy that is medical, which I don't cover. If that was something that you were concerned about at a medical level, you should always follow your intuition and do such. But from a spiritual point of view, linking with the chakras, you can go and look at similar videos and you can see what the blockages in those areas do and how you can work on those energies. And I do know it was many years ago, I was trying to gain a healthy diet. And my diet really was incredibly healthy, but the exercise component to the physical well-being was being applied to quite vigorously. But the one thing I did notice quite uniquely was the energy and the weight was not moving. When I started working on blockages spiritually, I actually found that blockage was removed and it physically started sorting itself, and I was needing to apply less energy. So it's food for thought nevertheless. Your mind is being activated, okay? But it's also reaching your full potential, liberating and understanding that you can actually manifest. You can create a different beginning to the one that you had previously lived, that the past does not define who you are, especially if you have paid your dues and you're proceeding forward and you're moving into the new energy of who you are in this new decade. I am confident and courageous. It is safe for me to be powerful, and I feel this is really unique that you have this stone in Citron. Okay, this can really protect you. Expand self-confidence, which is directly connected to the lower chakras, and awareness of personal magnificence. Remember divine essence. Increase mental clarity, which again is preparing for your 12th house placement in Gemini, which is your movement, your day-to-day routine. Also the hidden ability to actually achieve some of these targets, and the way in which you communicate. But it's also the hidden factors, your hidden resource, secrets, enemies, situations to that degree coming up. Can be connecting in with 12th house of illicit affairs, but it also can be very much a very spiritual awakening. Exude joy, enthusiasm, and happiness. Shine your light, okay? So it's you stepping into your own frequency with first house placement. The next one you have is copper. I am conduit of goodness and prosperity. I receive inspiration of great wealth. Unique that the Capricorn frequency playing it is very much connecting in with our employment and work and documentation. And again, with the nodes being in Cancer and the eclipse being in Cancer, it's family-related dynamics and home and empath and feminine energies and intuition, which again, a lot of that has come through. And especially with you being first house placement in the eclipse energy of how you see things, linking with marriages, contracts and partnerships, past tense or current, how you're connecting in with them, connected to your Aries and Chiron placement, which is your pain body experience of those things transforming. Now, the reverse of the card, be a clear conduit for messages and inspiration. So have time out where you can tune into what you feel. Complete. Okay, this is where you create things. This is where you're cultivating things. Amplify your courage and confidence. Again, solar plexus, sacral chakra. We're going to get into your read. Now, the first card out the door in your money and your heart center. So it's the way you invest in things, the things that are connecting in with abundance, money, finances, emotions. You have the Seven of Swords, which is it's a very good number vibrationally. Now, the reason I'm saying this is this can be where you're investing in things that are directly relevant to you, especially in marriages, contracts and partnerships. You're looking at those things, you're working on the areas, and you're doing what you can to achieve. You know, with the swords in the card, it's really cutting through to the grain of the situation and having the tools on hand. It's moving away from darker waters and really moving towards what you need to put your energy into. I do feel in 2019, a lot of you guys would have been working extremely hard. And some of the energy that's coming through is fatigue energy. You know, and I did say January was almost like we had to hit the ground running, going back to the day-to-day life, the hustle and bustle. And again, whatever you've been working on, I do feel is going to pay dividends to you. Keep your mindset correct. You may be fatigued, but providing you keep your mindset correct, I do feel you're going to be fine. There also can be a solution that comes at left field, and a situation that, you know, with your awareness and your conscious mind, seeing the reasons why certain things had to happen and play out. And 4-4 is this year is a vibrational number 4 year. So seeing from where you came to where you are now, with things you've invested in, with your work, with your career, with your finances, where it can go from here, okay? You have worked incredibly hard last year. Attention, reality, connection, awareness, trust your intuition, what you need to do, with whom you need to invest in, with what you need to do with your cash. I do feel you'll find solutions, and I think you'll do really well in 2020. Now, with work, you have the Knight of Wands in reverse. Oh, love you, my daughter. You got the Knight of Wands in reverse, okay? And this is where I'm going to pull a clarifier on this. There could be some energies playing out, okay? They're also very separately to employment, separate message. Especially with your marriages, contracts, and partnerships, what you've experienced in the past. I'm feeling, especially with the 3 cards, crowning energy. Could be third-party energy, could be 3 ways to view a situation, past, present, future, okay? Now, this is a very pushy energy. Really, you've been having to work super hard. It also can be other people around you that you're working with that potentially might get axed because they haven't been so great. Have faith in this process, okay? Because whatever is happening, it's divinely guided. And with your career sector really being activated, I do feel this is a very beneficial time for you guys. From whatever you've done last year to now, it's really going to reap rewards. I'm feeling quite positive. Also, for the things and the people that you have been working with, because again, with the 7th house placement, it's marriages, contracts, partnerships, connections in general, people you've been working with, people you've been investing in. I do feel two energies coming through. One in which you'd walked away from, you were trying to resolve situations and balance things out. I do feel walking away from that and seeing the energy for what it is. Other energy moving forward. And it's not to say you're not going to be working with these individuals, but the way you're applying yourself to these connections is going to be quite evolved, all right? But looking at it through the creative mind, looking at it from a point of view of being courageous and, you know, trusting in the process. And again, with all this crown chakra, it could be people that really betrayed you in the past that you gave a lot of time to, yet they might be projecting at you, especially with the conjunction in Capricorn and the eclipse in Cancer. All of these things either coming up at a spiritual level or in the 3D or directly from the people, places and things. But again, I just feel you're really in your crown chakra looking at it thinking, I should have seen this coming. I know where happiness is. I know what isn't. I know what my value is. I know what my worth is. And I'm moving forward. Now, interestingly enough, in Tribe, you have the World in reverse. And I was like, really? I feel with this, it is to do with whatever's going to transpire in January is meant to happen. You must trust it. Especially with Capricorn, Cancer frequency coming through from the previous year's nodes. And the eclipses and the conjunction, I feel it's doing a full 360. Now, it is going to cause disruption and stress, either from your mind reflecting back in the 3D at a physical level or from people, places and things. However this is going to play out for you, I do feel it's supposed to happen to resolve this situation. Well, I'm going to pull 2 cards. Yeah, it's something you're not passionate about any longer. And the communication is coming in, okay? So you're going to communicate very effectively, and I do feel the communication energy coming through is linking in towards March, but again, it's to do with a past tense energy, potentially that might not have been at a higher frequency. And it could be what you did versus what they did, and, you know, this conflict going on. In connections, in family, tribe, etc. Try and stay grounded, right? Your communication is the key. Again, you know, we all can look at our own role in situations. This can be, again, as I said, because there's marriages, contracts and partnerships being activated, it's maybe people not speaking from a place of love, people speaking quite negatively. You directly looking at things and, you know, potentially in the past you might have empathically understood and took the hit and took 100% of blame with past tense situations. I feel right now you're doing it quite silently. You're looking at it from all views, but you're also seeing how this does not resolve anything. So it's all white noise, okay? And it's almost like it went from a small violin to a large cello, and it's just it's a lot of noise. But you're tuning into what you're feeling within those situations and what to do on them for some of you. Now, in love, there is a judgment in reverse, okay? And this doesn't have to be your love life, in general love. The things you put your energy to, the heart you put into situations. Some of you, there could be illegality. And again, this can be connecting them with the 7th house placement, marriage, contract, partnership, people in the past connected to, coming up, okay? This is going to happen quite quickly. There could be conflict in this situation. And again, I am feeling these were people connecting in with the past. Now, visualization, people you haven't seen for a while, something coming back from the past, potentially you might not even see it coming, and it can be connecting in with a family-related dynamic. There is conflict that can come up with this. And again, I'm going to pull an advice card from the animal totem deck to give you some clarity on how to handle this. Okay, how does Cancer need to handle this conflict, adversity, dynamic? Really connecting with tribe. So the tribe and love is very much being directly impacted from this past tense situation. Rise above the situation. I do feel there's a very icy frequency coming through with this. And again, I'm just feeling no communication. I'm feeling not wanting to say anything. There's nothing left to say. Yeah, you're wanting to move forward. Okay, so you're going north, which is looking up and trying to think about the situation. There's a lot of ice on this card, right? There's a lot of cold being left out in the cold, hearing other people's perspectives, looking at things. But you're moving forward. There could be some resent as to your movement forward, right? Now, we're going to proceed forward into it because all of this, as we go down, will link into the romance house and other things going on in your life. Now, in your dream state, you've had to move through adversity. You've moved through your challenges. You've gone through a lot. You've had to dig yourself out of situations. Yes, some of the situations might have been self-inflicted. But again, with the 12th house placement coming through in March, plus what's going on with you in your 10th house, which is to do with, you know, how you saw yourself, how the world saw you versus how you're healing in those situations. The past is the past. And I really feel you pulling yourself out of this frequency. It's almost like this change. People aren't wanting you to have this change. You've worked very hard to achieve some of the things you had. You've also tried very hard. This could be for 4 separate individuals, for 5 individuals. But again, this change has been a long time coming, and I do feel the eclipse energy. You're really going to push through. You're holding your cards very close to your chest. You've done a lot of work to achieve what you got. I mean, again, I am feeling jealousy very much linking in with this, but there is a change happening. And I do feel it's a change in mindset because you know you've worked extremely hard for all you have. Yeah, this can be having no choice but to actually move because you've worked so hard and you feel you can't regress back, and really not giving people a choice to whether they do or don't accept it, but really to follow your truth as to what you feel is a stable foundation, and you've worked extremely hard for it and you're not going to let anyone take it from you. Now, in the karmic energy, you're taking a leap of faith, okay? You're moving away from this situation. You know this can go infinite ways. This can be for good or bad. So the karmic frequency playing out, I do feel regardless, you are physically moving forward very fiercely. Yeah, you know where your path is. You also know that this energy is around you playing out as quite foolishly. So they may be at a lower frequency. You may be at a different level. You've actually learned your lesson. You're potentially moving forward. They are viewing you from a mindset of you're the same person, but they're actually seriously underestimating you. Okay. What's the outcome of this? Yeah. You don't care regardless. You're like, you don't see the potential in it. So even if this person thinks you're the same person, they haven't worked on their foundation, you have, and you feel you're viewing things very differently. So this very much could be a past tense pain body experience or physically a 3D person from the past. Now in the unseen, you have the Three of Swords in reverse. This is where this person of the past is I'm going to pull a clarifier. Yeah, that could be communication coming in. This could be from a person, again, of the past. And this is really coming right through your read. I do feel something that they've done, they are going to regret. This can be where they're actually having a lesson happen. Okay, I'm feeling two energies here. Ooh. Okay, for some of you, there is an energy that is being inflicted towards you or people around you in your future tense and what you've been working on, right? And this energy, yeah, I knew it. Okay. Okay, it's weird how messages come to me. Now, I had to look at these cards. Now, there's something playing out. There's been a storyline building up. Communication crosswise, potentially a third-party energy from the past. It's in reverse. Regret now, two cards come out. Crown, chakra, intuition. Now, whenever I'm seeing 4-1 or 1-4-4, it's linking in with a spiritual connection. Now, with this, it's like I feel the regret can be towards a person surrounding you in a spiritual sense. This could be a TF connection where the person is not logically thinking right, and potentially they've underestimated this path you're choosing, your mindset. This can be family members. This can be I'm feeling family members, potential karmic, can be parent figures, especially with the eclipse being in Cancer. Really underestimating who you physically are, and it's really unique that you had three energies. You've got the third Three of Swords card. It's in reverse. It played out. It's coming up in a reversal where there's regret and sorrow, where, you know, you're not wanting to live in the past. You have really been tuning into, you know, what was the past versus what is the future, trying to rectify it, moving through, getting to a place where you work extremely hard on yourself to become the new version of yourself, to show the world you're very unique and different. But these energies are feeling in the marriages, contracts and partnerships area that you're the same person, but you're not the same person. Linking into who you're going to manifest in or who you directly have is a very, very deep connection. But it's your energy regardless, very separate to any other situation. But these energies are feeling you're exactly the same, and I think they're underestimating you. Let's get into love. Now, love was really interesting for you guys. Very Cancer orientated. So again, as stated above, as below, unity. Your crowning energy is unity. People, places and things, marriages, contracts, partnerships, choosing such, right? You're walking into this year knowing exactly that, potentially still working on it spiritually, but coming to a resolve in that energy of what is going to be for you. Now, the clarification card is the Moon, Cancer. Really, Cancer. There's moon on moon energy coming through here, all right? The partnered energy also has the Chariot, which is very much Cancer orientated. Even at the high energy of the unseen and the karmic energy, the Devil card came up. So this jealousy, and temptation came up twice, really having a toxic frequency towards you, a lot of jealous energy. very much a manipulative frequency. Do just be very mindful of yourself. Potentially buy onyx, and have that around you to protect you against the evil eye, because there is jealousy here, but it's tying out and it's really not playing very well in their favour. Yeah, they don't see it this way, but they're not understanding, the whole 360, what goes around comes around. So this energy is going to balance out. Now this unity, a time of divine understanding, renewal, peace and hope. You radiate and attract great love. So making peace with that, knowing your deservingness, first house placement. In the back of your mind and in the past, you've worked very hard for these wishes, okay? You've really wanted this energy to be such. Be it with past tense people or the direct connection you're in. You worked very hard. You'd hoped very hard. But, things weren't coming about the way you'd hoped, right? You have worked very hard to get to where you are. Now, you see the innocence in all people, but you need to see the innocence within yourself. I feel you're being potentially past tense. You were so forgiving to other people and less forgiving to self that you missed these opportunities. But these opportunities are coming back full 360. You're being tested, right? No more mountains, no more climbing mountains, knowing that with this energy, and again, I'm seeing a 3. Spreading yourself too fine, giving to too many people, marriages, contracts, partnerships, 3 crowning energies, third party energy, honing it in, you know how these things go. Make a decision so you don't have to keep climbing mountains. What is truly meant for you is always going to be for you. I do feel this is a transformative state for you in the month of January. Something is going to play out to show you the truth, and it's going to give you a lot of clarity as to how to handle things and if you actually can, because some of it might be out of your control. Now, partner energy, love interest energy. Chariot, movement forward regardless, willingness, right? Now, this is where in the past they felt quite stuck. They weren't able to transform. Again, they had so many changes happen in their own life, and it could even be directly connected to you, where they had to be quite protective of themselves, pick the pieces up and keep moving. Now, the reflection back, they have been waiting for this change to come. This could have been something they've worked on with you, especially since you have the 5 energy here. Now, in the patient sense, they're really wanting to get a move on. Their crowning energy is the Chariot, and they can see where there is manipulation around to affect this connection. Now, at an intuitive level, they're tired of having to use their intuition. They're hoping you're going to use their intuition because they already know what's going to happen. They're hoping you can see this. Crowning energy between the two of you. Strength, right? This is inner child. This is also the Empress, okay? Now, mother energy, feminine energies are subject matters in the month of January. The base energy is something from the past, because whenever I'm getting this card, it's something that has passed over, decade ending. It's in reverse, okay? This is coming full cycle, and the foundation, although you've done a lot of foundational work to move forward, it hasn't completely lifted off like a parachute yet. You've got the Ace of Cups in reverse. It's affecting the stability. So a judgment is going to need to be made. And considering the judgment is being delayed, some of it might be out of your control. And it can be to do with a family-related dynamic, children, etc., ex-karmic. You get the deal. Let's pull some advice cards. What is the... Okay. Make sure I'm not picking up 2 different decks, mind you. It's always divinely guided. Advice for Cancer. Okay. Connection. Okay, the first card out the door, you've got Trickster. So you know where the untruth is, right? Okay. So you got Trickster, right? You know it's coming. You'll feel the vibration. You know where potentially some things are in balance. You're going to look at that. But don't trick yourself, you know. Look at it. And I wouldn't say with rose-coloured glasses, can it be healed or can't it? Or is it something you need to look at and make peace with and let go? Because you know it's a very tricky situation. It's a very manipulative energy potentially going on. You're not passionate about it, okay? You also don't want to fight. But we can't make everyone happy. This can be a family-related dynamic. Now, it's not even part of your dream. It's affecting your hopes and dreams moving forward. Yeah, and it can be connected to a past tense situation. Looking at it from an external point of view, which is what I suggested for Capricorn, and look at the pain body experience of what society is making you feel versus what you're hungry to move forward. You feel cold towards this situation. You're looking at it from above and you're trying to proceed forward. Again, within this love interest that you're moving towards or with, that you're happy with, you're looking at it materially. You want this. This could be a long-standing connection, be it you had been together and, you know, waiting for the start, part of your spiritual quest, right? You guys have a role to play in each other's lives. It's been on delay. And Christmas potentially, you know, by next Christmas, you don't want to be doing the same cycle. And I do feel you guys are making major changes. Yeah. You know, you can't, it's almost like you realise you can't just keep holding on to hope. You know that is not going to help transform the situation. The reality of looking at what is taking you away from that path and what vision and quest is, what your intent is, and whether that matches with what's playing out, okay? So no decision is a decision, but it can directly impact your vision or quest of what you're trying to achieve. So if you can change some of the dynamics, yes, but if you can't and it's actually holding back what's naturally going to transform and transpire, all you're doing is delaying the inevitable, okay? Now, in the energy of offering, you're not wanting to offer this energy to somewhere. So it's like a decision's been made, but it hasn't been articulated, right? Offerings in reverse. Not sad about it. Can be, again, connected to a past tense person. Now, the conflict is also, again, children, immaturity, situations to that degree playing out for those of you that it directly relates. Again, no communication, because you need this transformation to happen. You need to move forward. What is the outcome where it stands right now for Cancer and their romantic love interest? Wow. Okay. I think it's really interesting that you have Elephant in reverse, past tense family related dynamic. Also, like, it's in reverse. It's a past tense scenario. Your life in order to move forward, doing things that make you feel good, right? Also focusing on your career. Looking at what is affecting your creativity. Also, you guys, I'm going to chain into that. Where you want to, I'm feeling two energies, okay? Past, present. Past direct connection of your scarred path, where you're wanting to go, what you're wanting to do. You're blocked because you're not tuning in. You need to sit quietly to be able to lighten up, to check in with what your intent is, because you're not choosing a path at the moment completely, because you're not feeling safe, you're not trusting yourself, right? I do feel you should trust yourself. I feel you already know where you're going. I really do. Cancer. You guys know. You're on your intuition point. Look, they know that you have a great intuition. you know you have a great intuition. You're very intuitive when it comes to people. Now, in the past, yes, you might have had to make peace with how you see things, how you perceive things. The past is the past. But I do feel that really you have evolved beyond this point. It's making peace with that. You've already started your scarred path. You're already on it. You're already moving towards this. You've worked through this energy of all these changes you've been working on. Against all odds, you've made it this far. There's no turning back from here. I do feel it's, if people can't accept it, I feel we're going to leave them in the dust. Love and light.